Welcome back, everybody, to Unite Mics Mayhem, week number 4, the finale of this little invitational series we have been running. My name is Zoinks, and of course, I am joined by the ever-beautiful Dupe Snacks.
How you doing, my friend?
Not too bad, not too bad. Dupe Snacks, it's been 7 days since we've been here last talking about these great teams having some exciting Unite action. How you been?
I've been good. As the Bare Naked Ladies once said, it's been 7 days since we did this, and I'm excited for week 4. We got some good teams. We got a good format. We went back to week 1 action with that pick ban set up there. So I'm excited to see what these. Look at this shirt too. You'll appreciate this. Let me get the mic out of the way.
Wow! Oh my gosh! When I said ever beautiful, I think I meant it because my word.
The queen's out here. The queen's out here. Let me fix this cam back up a little bit. Shout out to Celine Dion, absolute legend. But
yeah, that's true.
Let's talk about these teams. Let's talk about these teams. We got some good ones.
Yeah, so the 4 teams that are going to be competing this week are, of course, returning champions from week number 3, TTV. We have Team DRIPP going up against them in our first matchup, our first best of 3. And then following up after that is going to be Ascendance, formerly Blackhand, formerly world champions. And they are going to be competing against returning competitors from week 1 to Send a Black.
The Send a Black chomping at the bit there. They had a sub. Or they got dispatched by a team with a sub, Nemesis with a sub, and that put a big chip on their shoulder, and they want another bite at the apple, and we figured, hey, why not? That was a good action. Let's bring them back. You said formerly world champions. I'm pretty sure you get to carry that title until a new one's crowned, so we'll let Ascendance hold on to that for a bit. But it sounds like, if I'm not mistaken, the book is out.
Yeah, and guess who they got as a sub? I believe that they have picked up Toon. So to Send a Black beating their bracket demon and Toon again. So they're going to have to run up against that, which will, of course, be an exciting matchup for sure. But first up, before we even get to that game, we're going to have TTV versus DRIPP. Now, we already mentioned it. We're returning to a format from week 1, a beloved one of me and you, and of course, our teams. Yeah. Dupe Snacks, how does our draft format look?
Well, it looks a little like this. We're going to have, we'll say, Team 1 ban, lay out a ban. Team 2 lay out a ban. Then Team 1 will have the first pick. Team 2 will have 2 picks. And then we'll go 2-2 all the way until we fill out the 5. Of course, the last pick will be an individual. But what that does is it shakes it up a little bit. We get to axe out some Pokemon. We get to see what the other team's going to be. We get to change our held items or battle items to compensate. So there's a lot of jockeying and a good little song and dance that happens through this process.
That is true. It's really exciting. I like what draft brings to the game. I mean, of course, we hit meta games in the games that feel pretty stale, almost difficult to play in if you're trying to play ladder or anything like that. Draft is the spice of life that I'm looking for, often when it comes to competitive games, team battlers, MOBAs, whatever. Unite specifically, I think, really hits that niche right now. So I'm hoping it hits the real game, but for now, we have it just, in our tournament series. But I believe the teams are pretty much set up to play. They're itching to get at this draft very, very soon. So we have to start things off, of course, with our classic coin flip. Now, I believe I learned my lessons. I think I learned how to actually do coin flips this time around. So we are going to be implementing that well. Now, Dupe Snacks, I do need you to decide, is TTV heads or are they tails?
Is TTV first on the bracket or second? On our graphic, I should say.
On the graphic? Interesting question.
Are they on the top or the bottom?
Well, pulling it up, they're on the top.
Okay, so that gives them heads, right? That's the first thing you said was heads. So yeah.
Yes.
So TTV is heads, DRIPP tails.
Okay. Coin flippage is happening. It is tails. Okay, so that means it is going to be Team DRIPP's choice if they want Team A or Team B. If they are Team A, that means they get first ban, first pick. But if they are Team B, that means they get to see what the ban sort of frontier looks like, and then, of course, get the first chance at a double pick in a row. So I'm going to let the teams know. Dupe Snacks, talk to me about the storied history that TTV has in our game right now.
Well, listen, if you have followed this competitive scene since the inception of this game, they're a team that is committed to grow with the game, to stream the game, and also show their progress. They were, without a doubt, for a majority of the UCS, Unite Championship Series, the front runners for NA to qualify.
Hmm.
Unfortunately for them, they got dispatched in unceremonious fashion in that qualifying round tournament and fell just short. But that is goes without saying that they are one of the NA crowd favorites without a doubt.
Mm.
DRIPP, though, going to try and put their stamp on this one and show why they should be in this event and, put the screws to a pretty solid squad.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Solid Squad, we're definitely undercutting them a little bit there. But we have the choice, of course, from these teams. All right now, we have TTV got first ban this game, and they have chosen to ban Mr. Mime.
Great choice. It did suffer some nerfs in the last patch here. But that Pokemon is still incredibly strong. And one that, when I'm stacking up, and I'm sure when you are too, that you love having on your squad. So great ban here by TTV. It's a good blanket ban too. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to deal with it. You know it's a strong Pokemon for any individual that steps into this mayhem realm. So a good choice by TTV and a good safe one as well.
Yeah, I like the Mayhem realm note there too. One more note that we didn't mention at the top of the show, Mew is banned from the event again this week. Just a few too many bugs for us to try to police in-game. But so that being said, you don't have to worry about it in a ban, but DRIPP doesn't. They are going to ban the Charizard for their first ban pick.
Charizard kind of one of the big winners after that air quotes nerf patch that hit, the likes of Glaceon and Mr. Mime. And something that we've seen a lot of the teams lean into during the Unite Mics Mayhem series or season 1 of our series here. Our trio, for example, picked up Charizard. I wasn't quite convinced they had a Charizard, but they stepped up and they absolutely dominated. And look at TTV taking the best defender going. You know that Zugrug barking right there saying, give me Snorlax. The absolute objective stealing monster that Snorlax is in the hands of Zugrug.
Yeah. I mean, an iconic pick since the inception of Pokemon Unite. It seems at least the inception of the competitive scene. They have so many hours on this Pokemon that they've developed superstition. I don't know if you've checked out a Zugrug stream, but anytime they were in tournament, the only Holloware on that Pokemon will be the pool party Snorlax because they tried the berry out once and they lost. So no more. It is only pool party Holloware.
I'm still waiting on a Holloware that I can put on Snorlax that I won't lose in, so I can feel that for sure.
All right. Ooh, interesting picks coming out of Team DRIPP here. We have Azumarill and Glaceon, both incredibly powerful Pokemon right now in the metagame. Specifically, Azumarill is the one that I think a lot of teams are going to be looking at banning in that first round. They do not want to be giving up this Pokemon. It is so powerful. If you let it scale early, which it is very good at doing thanks to that level 4 evolution buff, it can just take over the game way too early for you to even compete. So managing a good Azumarill is going to be tough.
Big winner again in the last patch that we saw nerfs otherwise, but Dodrio, a solid pick, and that is going straight into the hands of Lutano, who's been beating the brakes off this Pokemon while they've been streaming. And of course, a great Blissey pocket. We're going to see a good chance we see Indy carrying that one and going to be finding their way and just being an absolute menace in that bottom path alongside Zugrug there, a tandem that we've grown very accustomed to, you and I.
Oh, yeah. We have casted many games on them. Maybe more reps than any other duo. Thanks to, of course, Zugrug's generosity in letting us use his VODs in the early days when creating content for Unite Mics, of course. But Blissey being picked up here by TTV is pretty interesting. I mean, so often Indy has brought the Pikachu support in recent days, but it seems like they're going just heals this time around. But Team DRIPP is going to respond with a tank choice of their own. They're going to snap up Wigglytuff and Machamp as well.
I do like the Wigglytuff pick. I think has a little bit more utility than Slowbro. Slowbro, excuse me, to me, really needs to be committed to. But Wigglytuff has at least the maneuverability. If you see the item loadouts, you can really understand, hey, are they going full heals? Can I go sing? If not, can I do rollout and leverage that way and set up some good ambushes with Azumarill? So I like the flexibility that Wigglytuff offers. And of course, Machamp scales incredibly well. It's a great late game Pokemon. And if Lutano is going to be on Dodrio, Machamp gives you a good anchor up top.
Now, right now, the Wigglytuff pick, I think, is a great late game play, especially when you're going into Snorlax, who, thanks to the buffs on the Unite moves, could provide more CC. Wigglytuff's kind of anti-crowd control Unite could be an important tactic here, but we got a last couple of picks from TTV. We have the Aegislash pick from them, as well as the Sylveon.
Huge pick. That's going to be great for splitting that central area there with Sylveon. Going to give you a good power spike to jump into these lanes. Maybe peel up top and go ahead and help out Lutano if that's where they end up with that Dodrio. Also, it really opens up the door for Lutano to maybe only get 1 or 2 wild Pokemon and then invade, right? So that opens that opportunity. And of course, it gives you a great engaging Pokemon in Aegislash as well. And I am seeing Ripto Jr. kind of hard to pick Wiggly into Blissey. You're not locked into the Sing. But if you do force Blissey into going into Safeguard, then that might be an advantage too, right? That it leverages other ways, mitigates the healing. So that's what the pick ban format is, right? They picked Wiggly into Blissey, knowing full well that could be an option, but it forces the other team to do something and you can react accordingly. Greedent, great solid pick, and a good invader itself and a good invade defender, of course.
Yeah, really, really strong at doing all of that. We have both teams ready to go, so I'm going to start the game and get us into live. I think we have a lot of invade strategies possible in this first game. I think that is going to be definitely on the menu today. Aegislash bright and early, and then probably a little bit of Dodrio as the game goes on. But yeah, Otter VGC playing on this TTV squad has been a huge addition for them, and Sylveon really has been a place that Otter has made their name in the scene. So I think this Pokemon is a very, very strong counter to Pokemon like Wigglytuff and Machamp and Greedent. I think all of those Pokemon, they do great at just that high speed spacing and keeping the distance while still delivering the damage.
Yeah, absolutely. So we see Tech, again, the Wigglytuff. Only Lutano's picking up the full heal here. So if they can force Indy into Safeguard or kind of pre-predict, right, if Indy evolves before Wigglytuff does and forces them in a certain direction, that might be a way to get an advantage here. So, and of course, Rollout Wiggly has a skill set of its own, without a doubt. This is a good representation of how much fun the pick ban format is. Wow. How much fun the pick ban format can be in Pokemon Unite. I mean, these are very unique loadouts here between two teams and things you just don't naturally see in the normal competitive scene. So I'm excited to see this showdown.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Team DRIPP's use of the Greedent specifically. I mean, this Pokemon can definitely find its way into a few spots, but Machamp, Azumarill, and Greedent have all kind of been these historic, iconic picks that find themselves in the top path. But now they're spreading them out a little bit. Machamp is going to try to stack bottom, maybe reminiscent of some metas past, but Animated Eagle on this Greedent is going for an early invade here. This Pokemon very strong at doing it on the last map. I think suffers a little bit more on this one, but can still make it work.
Yeah, I mean, Eagle just moving through, already ticking over here, forcing Indy to put them on the chase. And of course, it stymied their invade for now, but they still got to peel upstairs and do a little bit of work in that sense. Kingslayer playing very far forward, not looking to engage, just trying to take some more wild Pokemon for themselves.
Yeah, Lily right now got in a few stacks. You can see that by hitting the level 4 already. Focus Band depleted and demolished there. Otter gets that early damage, hits the evolution well before first round of Bees. They are going to get extremely strong, and this is an important thing to note. This Sylveon finding itself in path before, normally we see this Pokemon with a bit of a split path decision, but instead they're giving everything in that central area over to Dodrio.
Yeah, and a good chunk of damage there. And now with 3, they're going to be able to push. Lily kind of circles back and decides against it as the Wigglytuff's trying to hold it down. Beautiful hat, but it's nothing in the face of 3 as they're getting some points in. And look how Zugrug playing on the backside. Lutano getting a KO as they joined in the fray. KO streak of 2, And now Dodrio, they got 3 heads. Definitely better than 2, certainly better than 1. And they're getting points in and looking good early in this one.
And now stacks are going to be soaring in. Squirtle's done with a big heads-up play, though, knowing that the Dodrio immediately went to clear the buffs instead of the ball toys, knowing that they will spawn a little bit earlier. Great heads-up play to know those respawn timers on the central area Pokemon.
Yeah, and it looks like they're actually resetting themselves as the action continues here for TTV in the bottom path. Good little pressure. Retsu, Doublade looking for their own opportunities. Eagles, have these two just been scrapping the whole game? Indy's being absolutely relentless, not doing a lot of damage, but certainly being a menace of itself in the face of that Squovit.
It really seemed to be a man-to-man defense kind of situation. Indy knowing that they don't need to be there for any supportive measures in the early game for their team. Instead, play for vision. Keep an eye on where that pesky Greedent is hiding out that entire game. In the meantime, Lutano was finding ways to do early damage already at level 8.
Dodrio navigating the map incredibly well with Indian pocket, you know, maybe catching a couple eggs, what have you, getting in there and getting another KO. I think they're already up to 3 or 4 this game, and we're only at the 7:30 mark, so it's a good look there. Squirtles then had a good invade, but now they need to leverage that level advantage that they would have had on some sort of Pokemon, and Retsu might be the one here, as they've got a huge player advantage, and Retsu's just going for the wild Pokemon. Indy coming in for the save, and of course Dodrio, Lutano into that action as well, forces all of Team Drip back. That's a KO right there. They pick up the berry through the dart through, and now the boosted auto for Retsu buys some space. Finally a KO for that Greedent, but that stand is not for long as that sword is finding its mark.
Lutano with a really nice tech there, making the Unite move with Dodrio super short range, still getting the damage value and everything like that. Retsu getting in even more stacks at this early game moment. Level 8 already, thanks to the early game presence in that top path. It's been so dominant so far.
Zugrug trying to get a little vision. They certainly got it. Heavy slam out, but that's exactly what Zugrug says a tank should be doing right now. Getting vision, catching bodies out there, taking all the bullets for the squad, and giving the opportunity to make big plays. And there you go. Retsu sealing that up despite the Sing engaged there by the Wigglytuff. They're going to get KO'd in short order, and now the push is on. TTV looking incredibly strong. Can they close it out before it hits? No, but they have a good overcap opportunity. Did that Unite move just dissipate into thin air, Zoinks?
Yeah, Retsu definitely chucked it out, hoping to find the Greedent. Greedent was able to tackle around it there, but still a second-tier score here with a lot of value. The Unite moves only needing to spend 1 on that top path siege allows them to absolutely smoke Team Drip here in the bottom path. Luckily for them, though, Squirtle's Den and Lily have been able to get some scores in this bottom path, finally climbing back up that points ladder a little bit.
Lily, please take over to Machamp and get into this game. That's what we need. They have plenty of stacks. We saw that. There's that evolution just in time. And now they can maybe pressure a little bit harder in this bottom path.
Yeah, right now Snorlax is keeping up a pretty solid defense. Heavy Slam gets away. Glutton is going to be able to give them some healing. In the meantime, though, another great Unite move to turn the tables there. Azumarill had that KO, but Lutano just swings a very strong Dodrio ability and changes it up.
3 players, 3 heads, easy math, 3 KOs. Bang, done. And this Dodrio is absolutely sliding in the face of Team Drip right now. And a Pokemon that is that squishy really can't give it this much real estate, because once it outscales you, it can out-engage you, and then it doesn't have to suffer any of the repercussions of it being just weaker, and there's a Retsu free KO. I mean, that was done for when Zugrug tandem block, come on.
Yeah, I mean, no support there from the rest of Team Drip. They just know they be more food to the fodder in that little situation. Squirtle's then not able to pick up that last hit either. They have their Unite ready to go, but they need to find a Pokemon squishy enough to leverage it on.
Yeah, that was a huge engage. Unite move comes out, and of course Retsu engages on the back of that. Squirtles then comes out, uses the Unite move of their own. KO Streak 2 for the Machamp. Lily finally heating up as soon as they ticked over. 4 arms, 4 action. Blizzes comes in, gets KO on the Wigglytuff, and that's of course on the engage there. KO Streak 2 for Indy, come on. Chuck and Mitts looking good. Oh, come, you can't give him 3. You can't give him 3. An American Eagle gonna come through. Sylveon Otter taking care of that business. But TTV just saw they gave Team Drip the glimmer of hope by pulling back the curtains for a moment, and then snapped them shut and KO'd them in the instance.
A perfect overdunk as well there in the bottom path. 39 points at this point in the game is going to give them an over 300 point scoreboard right now. Team Drip only at 75, but they are desperately needing to farm. They cannot worry about that scoreline right now. Experience has to be the name of their game.
I kind of feel like that's all Squirtles then has been doing this game, is getting experience, but these engages are not going their way as Lutano gets another KO in the face of 3 and it's just scrambling all around him. Great Unite comes out. Can they convert on Lutano? That's good comeback experience if they can chase it down, but that Dodrio's quick. It's got those big feet. It's getting out of there. Animated Eagle trying to get into the action. Here's Lily, goes for the engage, uses their Unite move, but that is half HP as the Sylveon comes through. Otter KOing them after that duffed close combat, and TTV maintains their lead.
Ender with just an absolutely amazing safeguard there, too, to get Otter out of that Machamp Unite move. They were stuck up against the wall, but a little bit of anti-CC there able to completely give them the escape. Right now, TTV is finding themselves at home in the enemy central area, trying to take any buffs that they can. A Machamp and a Greedent, though, is not something Retsu wants to go into at the moment. They are going to retreat, try to find positioning, only 1 minute away from the final stretch.
The final stretch is going to be very important for Team DRIPP and a good test of defense for TTV. There's no way they're looking to touch that Rayquaza. However, they have those 2 outer goal zones ready to be dunked on if Team DRIPP can find a good opportunity. But it's Lutano onto Animated Eagle, chipped up by Zugrug. Retsu there to help close the deal here. Boosted Auto is going to seal it up with a little A press afterwards. Good look by TTV to finish that KO.
Yeah, right now, Team DRIPP needs to be playing for just a little bit of positioning and intel. A nice little score there. Lily obviously needs to get a few more attack weight stacks to feel comfortable in this final team fight, but 13 seconds until the basement Reggie is going to spawn in. That is not enough time for a knockout. Squirtle's then retreats, tries to find that buff. Blue Puff comes to jump just in time. They should be able to smoke this one right before that team fight begins.
Yeah, Den needs it because they need to bring to parity with the lowest level player in TT, which is Indy. Are you kidding me? I mean, TTV is looking to take any fight they can. I mean, the Wigglytuff Unite comes out, the Hyper Voice comes out as well. Retsu's looking to engage. Everybody's getting chunk on Team DRIPP, and it's just a matter of time before one of them gets a KO. Blissicist hits Otter across town shootout. Zugrug with the big time engage. 3 players down. This is done and dusted. Squirrel's done trying to hold it, but no, they're blocked into the wall and absolutely gutted. The Wigglytuff still holding on strong, air quotes, as they go ahead and back, but that's going to be too late. That's just enough time for the KO quit on this one. Team DRIPP packs it in. TTV looking strong out here.
Yeah, TTV with a big game number 1 win. I mean, obviously they are the favorites headed into our tournament after winning last tournament in dominant fashion as well. Lutano with a very, very impressive 15 KOs in that game number 1.
I mean, we knew that was going to be the type of numbers that were going to happen once they got 4 KOs in the first, 90 seconds? And then it only grew from there. What I want to point out, though, and something for those at home to keep in mind, that damage dealt only 82k. And when I say only, obviously it's a good number, but look at Otter, 93. That means that they were moving in tandem. They were going with engages. Zugrug, not 31k. That's a lot for a Snorlax. They were letting Lutano clean up the trash and not lead engages, which meant that Dodrio could really leverage its in-out ability to get those KOs and turn those battles onto its head. So, I mean, that's just clear and exactly what we expect out of TTV. Clear, concise engagements, and it was just too much for Team DRIPP to handle, and it's a lesson learned for everybody out there. If you're trying to get on the squad, you need to learn to talk.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, you're right. They're moving in tandem. They got some big explosive wins. That final team fight, I think, was a huge highlight of when that happens. But they're also just so individually skilled that, like, I mean, even at the start, Lutano is taking that entire central area to themselves, while Otter is able to contend in bottom path. And then they're able to send Dodrio in on an invade, while Otter gets a 40-point overdunk in the bottom path when Lutano's moving outside. So, yeah, when they're together, they're playing phenomenally. When they're individually, they're also shining. I mean, just right now, this team is playing on a whole different level. If you're a TTV fan, I'll be very excited for whenever Season 2 rolls around.
Yeah, I mean, they picked up 2 good players. Of course, they lost 2 phenomenal players in Toon and Goof. We're not understating their ability whatsoever. Retsu, world's caliber player. Toon, a replacement player themselves on the world stage. And excuse me, I just said Toon. Okay. Retsu coming in, Otter on Full Send was one of the teams that dispatched TTV to get themselves to the next level of the UCS Championship Series, and one that has leveraged Sylveon very, very well after watching EU do it. So, I mean, they are a formidable opponent without a doubt.
Yep, could not agree more. Now, DRIPP definitely had an interesting draft when it came to this first round draft. I mean, they got themselves a Machamp, they got themselves the Azumarill. Even a Glaceon was a really, really big power pick, but just in that end game team fight, they couldn't really find room to breathe when it came to trying to leverage their very, very powerful moves. Now, in game number 2, if I'm DRIPP, I am banning Dodrio off the face of the earth.
Yeah, it's one of those components that seems like a lot of teams haven't figured out yet, right? Glaceon seems it's powerful, yes, but it seems sorted by the best teams going. So there's less fear of that being across from you. Dodrio, on the other hand, and there you go, right on the nose, is a much more unknown quantity. And if you're not sure how to combat it, just get it out of the equation. Don't have to deal with it.
Absolutely. We also have TTV banning Mr. Mime again, and this time a bit of a counter selection. We have a Snorlax pick from the side of Team DRIPP.
Well, I mean, I can understand where that's coming from, right? Zugrug put in a lot of work with Snorlax there, just an objective ceiling monster with that heavy slam. But don't be too afraid of what can come out from TTV here, because Zugrug's pool is deep when it comes to these defender Pokemon. Wigglytuff, incredibly strong. You could actually have Zug pick up Blissey and have Indy go to Hoopa, for example.
Ooh.
So you've definitely put TTV in a position to get Zugrug off of their most comfortable pick, but that doesn't mean there's not more comfortable picks existing out there.
Yeah, that is very true. And Team DRIPP definitely going with the counter strategy over their pick for their own side or selection. If I'm guessing, I honestly don't know Team DRIPP that well enough to know where their comfort picks lie. But still, counter picking a Dodrio or counter banning a Dodrio, counter picking a Snorlax. Team DRIPP definitely seems to be taking the offense already in this first draft phase. Now we have a Blissey and an Azumarill selection here from TTV. Now, Retsu has been playing this Aegislash so often through when I've seen them on ladder, when I see them play in Unite Mics Mayhem. It really surprises me is this Azumarill pick. I mean, obviously, it's so strong, a very sought-after pick in draft, but still, seeing them opt into that instead of the Aegislash is a bit of a shock to me.
I think this is more of a hedge bet, right? Because you also have Lutano that can pick up Azumarill and go straight to Path, and maybe still have the option for Sword. I mean, we've seen Lutano also pick up Dragonite, which could be a concession to like a split Central as well. Sylveon doesn't seem to be high up on the tier list outside of TTV's selection pool. So, I mean, this could just be a great Retsu can pick it up, Lutano can pick it up. Let's give ourselves the maximum amount of flexibility. That's exactly what Blissey does too. We've seen Zug play a ton of Blissey when Indy was on Hoopa, right? I mean, that's another flex pick that can go to two different players depending on how the rest of this thing goes out. And then there you see Aegislash and Charizard coming in for DRIPP. That's huge for them. TTV is looking for their opportunity to adjust here, and we got to see where they go.
So, if I'm Team DRIPP, obviously they are not afraid of the invasion strategy. It's a very popular strategy on the map. I mean, the jungle or central area is so much closer to that middle portion. Very easy to get in and invade up. So much so that central area players have had to opt out of knocking out their ball toys again and again. Aegislash, a Pokemon that can very well get into the enemy central area and take. Charizard usually finds itself on the top path, stacking just so important on this Pokemon, especially to get it to that level 9 as quick as possible. It's where it really becomes a threat to the game. No one's afraid of a Charmander or a Charmeleon, so...
Yeah, it's very sad on the early goings, and you'd like to pick on that Pokemon if you can. Maybe this is the opportunity where it's actually like a Charmander run into the middle with a Snorlax pocket. You just put experience share on it, and you just have it babysit that Charmeleon so you can get all its stuff, or at least guarantee that your team gets its stuff. TTV picking up Slowbro here. I'm hoping it goes Surf, a big way to engage into this opposing squad and really mitigate Charizard back the other way. And there you go. You have Sylveon as well. What better than to surf in or scald in and set up a Sylveon for a good hyper voice, and Azumarill has the ability to close the door. So TTV, I mean, sticking to a bread and butter plan here. DRIPP has a lot of high octane Pokemon on their side, but
for sure,
TTV really knows where they're going, and it looks like it's pink with it's just a shade of blue on the corners.
The cotton candy side for TTV. The Slowbro pick here is so strong into Charizard specifically. Like, it is just such an amazing counter pick. Whenever that Charizard unites, it can absolutely devastate your squadron, but Slowbro can shut all of that fun down almost immediately with their Unite move. One of the most powerful ones in the game. Obviously, it's very specific, but it is incredibly strong in draft format. I think this Pokemon absolutely soars. Now, some interesting selections here from DRIPP, and I think they are good because so far their team composition has been very late game focused. I mean, Aegislash, Snorlax, Charizard, all spiking pretty late, but instead they're going to be grabbing Absol and the Trevenant.
Trevenant's going to be huge. I don't want to say it's more of a mid-scaling Pokemon. It's a little bit later than level 4, and it really unlocks at level 7 once it starts shoving. And there you have the end game finisher for TTV and Tyranitar, and that's a heck of one that they'll need. So DRIPP, what you want to do is you want to scale as quickly as you can, and you want to have Absol bullying Tyranitar very, very early to kind of keep it from growing. After that, you need to pivot into the Trevenant Snorlax engages, let Absol clean up the trash after big engages by Aegislash and Charizard. DRIPP really needs to play front to back, whereas TTV can really just chuck a bunch of stuff at the wall and see what sticks as Tyranitar's ready to step through. So it's two different thought process here on how they want to fight. DRIPP needs to fight front to back. They have to, or they've got no chance.
Yeah, and I mean, you said they don't have that many Pokemon that are exceptional at front to back damage. I mean, normally you would want some kind of ranged attacker to be able to chip away at the healthy tank Pokemon of TTV, but instead they have an Absol and Aegislash Snorlax. All of these Pokemon want to push in and get in deep and find some targets. Now, I really think the Charizard is going to be the keystone to DRIPP's composition, and potentially Absol at countering Otter's Sylveon. Those are the two pieces that I think DRIPP is going to need to leverage if they have a hope in game number 2 here.
No, that's an absolutely great call. If I'm Trevenant, right, and I'm reaching the end fights, I'm either looking for Snorlax or this Trevenant to get in deep and literally push Slowbro off in a coordinated activation of the Charizard Unite. Deal with everybody else on TTV. If the Slowbro's the last one standing, you got a decent shot. But DRIPP has to communicate. They have to communicate. They have to coordinate that engagement, because if you engage, or if Lily goes in with the Charizard Unite and they didn't sort out the Slowbro, Zug on the Slowbro first, it doesn't matter, because you know Zug's going to sandbag that Unite for that moment.
That's true. They don't need to use it otherwise. I mean, Aegislash may be the only other target, but check out Zugrug's item build, Doob Snacks. We have Rocky Helmet, I believe, making its debut here in Pokemon in Unite Mics Mayhem at the very least. Focus Band, Choice Specs, Rocky Helmet. Wow, a very interesting selection for Zugrug here. Very, very tanky, right? Potion, Rocky Helmet boosting defense as well as Focus Band. Choice Specs, their only real damage opportunity that they'll have to utilize. But you called out the Surf. It could be Scald. Personally, I would probably go with Scald into the team composition I'm facing, because they're all attack damage dealers. And that burn effect is going to have that attack. Surf would be great, but I think just into this team specifically, that's where I would go.
Yeah, you don't actually need the Surf the way the rest of the composition came out. So the Scald is actually just cranked up, and that's probably why there was a concession to the Choice Specs versus literally any other held item that would help for sustainability. Because, hey, if I'm Scalding, let's crank up the damage a little bit. Let's sliver down their HP just a shade more so we can actually close the door on some of these KOs. Look at Lutano splitting the central with Otter. They're working through, sandbagging it just slowly but surely. Lutano gets it, ticks over, and here we go. Retsu hitting the path, and you know they're going to be rolling through the middle in short order.
Yeah, very interesting that they're sending the Tyranitar, the Pokemon that needs to scale more than any other Pokemon in the entire game, and they're tossing it into path off the start of the match.
Yeah, this is shades of, sending Venusaur in path early, and then having the first central area taken, and then just having them pivot into the middle and get the rest of that for the rest of the game so they can scale up, right? Seeing that the level 4 spike is pretty important. Good time engage here. Retsu gets really low, but Kingslayer is catching the receipts for that. Little hyper voice action they're working through, and Zugrug already a Slowbro, and we're going to see what they picked up. I think I just saw them Scald that Indeedee right in the middle there.
Okay, there we go. That's what makes the Choice Specs a lot more sense this time around. Now, Squirtle's Den has been able to get all their buffs pretty easily, get a lot of that middle bird damage there. Lutano is coming up very, very strong as well. A very tough Pokemon for Absol to run into.
Yeah, they're gonna have to get onto Squirtle Den's back here and lead the engage, which means Squirtle Den actually has to engage. They've got a chance here on Retsu. They actually get the score animation, which kind of cuts them off a little bit as the Hyper Voice comes through. Now Squirtle's Den is doing a little defensive job by themselves. Finally, a player comes in, but not before they get a KO on the Pupitar and get KO'd themselves back the other way. Tech support coming in, finding the hotline and saying, look, we need a little IT action out here. Reset, reboot, get out of here. And they do a decent defensive stand despite being under leveled in the face of that TTV squad.
I love casting with the dupes next. I was like, I guarantee there's going to be a phone joke here. I was just waiting for it, and we hit it. So
we got there.
Yeah. So Zugrug getting a KO here in the early matters, and now it seems that the Pupitar is going to be heading back to the central area. Needs to hit that level 9 as fast as possible. A takeover Pokemon, if I've ever seen one here.
Yeah, a good central invade there by the 2 support and defender players for TTV means that Team DRIPP, yes, they got some of that, but it actually forced some of their players out because they couldn't actually engage on them, right? They had to get the birds and get what they can and get out. Lutano still level 6, about to tick over to level 7 here, dealing tons of damage in the face of this squad, and they're pushing in tandem with Indy. This is great work by them. They're still trying to hold it down. That big tail whipping through, getting a KO on Snorlax, and that's a chunky body first. Is that still a Charmander? Please, Lily, no. As you get KO2, KO Shrika 2 for the Azumarill, and now they're just getting a tons of points, and 31 left in that one. They're looking good. 125 to 11 Zoinks.
KO Streak 2 there for Retsu as well. 29 points going in. That's going to be a 25-point overdunk already. 160 for our purple team with TTV. A very dominant lead right now. We're having Team DRIPP just have to retreat. You know, admit that they have lost this early game and figure out a way to get experience, because it's certainly not coming from any of these major objectives.
The confidence here in TTV is staggering as they're facing down 2-on-3 as 2 players committed to getting the basement Reggie here, and they're still holding down a push as Lutano gets another KO Shrika 2. Tech support is trying to dial it up and dial it in, but they can't find a soul here as this Charmeleon is under level, and as Lutano being an absolute menace with that big old ball and chain that they call a tail, smacking it in the face of Team DRIPP.
And you can't even charge into them because Otter and Ender just have a great line of defense around them.
Oh,
the amount of damage this Hyper Voice does is absurd, dude snacks.
In tandem with that Azumarill, they have found themselves a recipe for success. And now Tyranitar, are you coming in? Did you just see them express lane down the path? And now TTV is going to be able to coalesce and converge onto that Regieleki. But Retsu's in the face of this Team DRIPP. And with an Indy pocket, get out of here. TTV is looking very strong. They're growing very quick. And there is not enough just experience on the side of Team DRIPP to really contest anything right now.
Team DRIPP needs to all in. They need to eyes closed, head first, can't lose this situation, because it's going to be one of the only ways they can earn experience back the other direction. Look at a Kingslayer. It could be a strong move here.
Kingslayer getting slayed real quick, King. Come on. They're getting buckled. Tyranitar Unite comes out, and they get chewed up too easy as they're still making this push. 2 players down. Regieleki hits. That goal zone is absolutely dusted with an overcap. It's 336 to 11. TTV, if we were worried about them hitting their stride, holy smokes, did they find it here in Game 2. They are being mean.
Yeah, absolutely. Absol Unite move goes up and out to the 2 most tanky Pokemon in the composition. Does not get much done in terms of damage, but that little bit of passive defense and attack speed could be used.
Bliss's Instance comes out and it finds their way into the middle onto Lutano, and they're just finding bodies right now. That ball and chain is smacking everybody in the face, knocking teeth out left and right. And now tech support's trying to make it back, just find themselves taking 3-4, get out of here. And I'm shocked Lutano just didn't go for the 5-pack there. But I mean, 12 is that 12?
Yeah, it's already at 12. Yeah, I had to check.
Yeah, I mean, this is nasty work out here by TTV. Something I want to know: Squirtle's Den is engaging without the rest of their team. If they are going to do this, they are the highest level Pokemon. They need to call engagements, and everybody on the squad needs to go in. Squirtle's Den fighting for their own from their own goal zone here, needs the rest of the squad, but they're all separated. Team DRIPP split up. And now they're getting eaten up here. Finally, Unite move finds its mark. No, Zugrug Unite back the other way. They're trying to burn it down, but it's still Lutano finding bodies out of here, Zoinks, as Lily's getting absolutely dusted. 3 players down, and Lutano does not care about your Unite move. It's Otter, Lutano, and Zugrug moving as a pack again, and Squirtle's then another engagement all alone, and they're not going to find much purchase here as that goal zone is shattered in their face.
TTV finding another level of dominance here in game number 2, 426 to 24. Every last bit of experience is theirs on the map right now. A level 13, a couple of 12, so level 11s as well, but it's certainly better than the single digits on the side of Team DRIPP.
Look at Lutano just carving through. Jesus, it's like a shotgun to the chest. Once it fires back, you are just gaped right now, and it's ridiculous. Team DRIPP getting buckled. Team DRIPP, they are leaking. They are hemorrhaging water right now. It ain't no drip out here on Thea Sky Ruins. It is a nightmare.
Yeah, no, this is a tough game for them for sure. I mean, the draft composition definitely had a focus on the late game, but that doesn't mean that the early game can go as poorly as it is right now. I mean, it's just impossible to find a comeback at some of these levels. They're trying to defense around this goal zone here, but we're at a 3-minute home goal zone siege right now, and TTV is not letting up.
No, they are finding 2 KOs. They're pushing forward. Zagrod getting themselves credit for 1. That's a KO streak of 2 for the Tyranitar, and they are just chucking bullies in the face of Team DRIPP as they're coming out of their own goal zone. Another Reggie Lecky hits the core, and it's 569 to 24. That is a huge lead, and all TTV needs to do is not set down their controllers, and I think they've got this one.
Yeah, I mean, even a full 5-100 burgers is not going to change the face of this game. Pretty much right now, Team DRIPP has 30 seconds to get in some scores to try to make a miracle even possible before they even tried to make it happen. So TTV was such a dominant early game that their late game was just an assured decision here. Incredible work from TTV so far. Team DRIPP putting up a pretty solid performance in game number 1, still taking a tough loss at TTV, but this game number 2 has really been all 3 letters of TTV.
That is without a doubt. Now, I mean, when you see your Trevenants scampering away from an engagement because they can't handle the smoke and they're full HP, something went real sideways real quick, and it went sideways real early. As, you know, the highest level on Team DRIPP doesn't want to catch any smoke either because they are still out-leveled by everybody on TTV.
Yeah, right now it's just TTV played a little bit of TDM at this point in time, knowing that they have such a sizable lead. Lutano does get united into the sky. A KO goes the way of Charizard. They start leveling up. A Squirtle's then goes down to Retsu's Tyrannical Rampage.
Yeah, that Rampage kicks up, and now we all know where the bars are. All they need is an auto attack to smother them down, and the sword is looking to get broken real quick as Indy's on the chase. That wide guard won't serve you too good as you're getting chewed up by a dinosaur. Come on. And now Retsu's just like, I guess I'll get a buff while I'm at it. I'm over here, right? Just big-time numbers being put up by TTV, and they're just catching bodies left and right. Team DRIPP trying to find an engagement here. Squirtle's then trying to find a way back into this one, but it is no such luck for them in the face of TTV.
I mean, TTV going to try to break a few records here at Unite Mics Mayhem. They certainly are doing it in the KO department. Let's see if they can get it done in the score department as well. 50 seconds left in this game. A very dominant win here for them against Team DRIPP. They are going to be waiting in our finals to see who they're going to play their 1v1 against. Admirable block effort here at the end, but it seems like it's all figured out now. TTV with a huge win in our game number 2.
Yeah, it's ducket time. They're going to try and eclipse this 4-digit mark here, 9-11 to 24, and holy smokes, dial it up, 9-1-1. That's what Team DRIPP needs to get themselves out of this one. 9-33 to 24, 9-43 to 24. Can they eclipse 1,000? That's the number we're looking at now. Otter playing very far forward in the face, making sure nobody from Team DRIPP comes through, and there we go. 4 digits for TTV, and this one putting a stamp on it. Rightfully so. They looked good from bell to bell.
Yep, TTV looking amazing. Team DRIPP had some pretty good draft phases. I honestly thought they were making some pretty good, intelligent decisions, but when you're going up against TTV, sometimes it just doesn't matter. Truly the best in the game when metas truly define it, and TTV took a hold of this one. 1,019 to 24 is your final total.
Lutano absolutely taking over this one. 20 KOs, and Zugrug, Indy, and Otter there for all that action as well, giving them great support. Let's see the damage numbers out here, Zoinks.
Sure. Let's take a look at these record-setting numbers. Lutano with a clean 133,000 damage. Otter at 87 as well. Retsu putting up a mean 87 as well for that late-game takeover Pokemon. But yeah, just such a dominant win from TTV. I should have update their score on their side 2-0, but like we said, they are going to be waiting to decide the winner between Ascendance and Tassenda Black, which will be coming up very soon. We're going to throw you to a very quick break, and we will be back in just a couple of minutes.